Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Hobby Dude 007 channel. I picked up this kit in the late 1990s with something in mind that was different, unique, something a little special. And I've worked on it on and off for 25 years just about. And there's always been that, you know how that project will come up that just gets your attention and you set something aside and go to it and you go back to something. Well, that's one of these projects that I've gone back and forth on a number of times. But I think it's well past time to finish it up. What is it? Stick around and find out. This build is going to be a petty enterprise fab shop car. In other words, the birth of a stock car, really how it all starts. And it was inspired by the movie Days of Thunder from 1990, and also the DVD, The Making of Days of Thunder, NASCAR Goes Hollywood. Great video if you haven't seen that one too. In the movie, you see where Harry and the team are building a car from the ground up. And in this shot, you see all of the sheet metal has been hung. The Clico connectors are holding everything in place while they put the templates on it, make sure she's legal. And I thought that was just a great shot with all those Clico connectors. And here they are with the Clico connectors on the car, and you see them doing the template on the car so they can do their final lining up before they weld the sheet metal. Here's a couple of shots of fab shop cars. I've shared some of these with you before, but in the bare metal. Another chassis shot, and here's another shot of sheet metal with the Clico connectors holding it in place before they're welded together once everything's in its final spot. Here's a good look at the high-impact synthetic bumpers that they put on the new cars, but this is what we're going for. We're going to do something kind of unique. I saw Lucas C do one once that was really cool, a T-Bird, and I thought that was really cool too. But I started this, great minds think alike, so he and I had done that at separate times, but I really want to finish this one this time, and so let's get into it. Take a look. Here's where we're going to be starting today. This body has been stripped for the second time. The first one was a mock-up. The second one was well, it wasn't successful, but I'm using between buffing metallizers by testers, and thank goodness I still have a good many of those, as well as All-Clad 2. There's going to be 7 different shades of metal on this chassis. Some are very subtle, and it's almost not worth the effort, but you've seen in the building a chassis some of the weld beads and that kind of stuff that is on the car. But let me take the camera down and I'll show you a couple of things real quick here while it's moving around. You see all of the holes drilled where the windows will go in on the sides, as well as you see where I filled in a little seam I had scribed there. It just wasn't in the right place. The more research I did, the more I have to start over. Then the windshield rivets, you see where those are drilled out. And by the way, the roof flaps are opened up, the cowl flaps are opened up, and you see from the roof rails where the rivet holes are in there, the rear end. And I'm going to have to take, and it is going to take some time to scribe all of the lines for each individual panel of sheet metal, and then the Clico connectors will be holding those in place, and that goes all the way down to here. And I'm going to be using on the nose as it comes around, you see where everything's drilled out, and there's a few things on the body I've still got to change aside scribing the panels. And on the nose up here, I'm going to be using the Model Car Garage photo etch set for the grill work and all of that stuff. And the nose, I'll show you in one of the mock-ups I did before I stripped it last, kind of what it looked like, and then I'll tell you why I had to change that. Also, let me put the camera back up here and I'll show you a few other accessories I've built for it. By the way, these there's a crush panel, and that is buffing metallizer, polished aluminum. And coming around here is the package shelf area, and you see the drilled out marks there for the rivets, and then along the bottom of the car. But a couple of other accessories I built for the to kind of display with it. Of course, you can't have any kind of shop without a jack, and I went ahead and built, and you see the Petty Enterprise logo on the jack, so that'll be kind of sitting by the car too. But I also, because I'm still kind of debating over whether I want to put the photo etch hood and trunk hinges on and have those up, or if I want to have those sitting beside the car ready to be put in. And in case I did that, I went ahead and mocked up a sheet metal rack in Petty Blue, and actually I think that's Tamiya TS23. But this is just something for the hood, the trunk, and a couple other panels, things like that could be resting in a fab shop before they go on the car. I don't know if I'm going to use that, or like I said, if I'm going to have the hood and trunk lid up. That's still kind of so-so. But let me get this off the turntable, and we'll take a look at the chassis real quick too. Be right back. Hey guys, something I forgot to mention, something I want to be displaying in a fab shop is something you would find in a fab shop, and that is the body template that runs the length of the car. You see a lot of them in this era especially. They're a lot more complex today. But you see that long piece of aluminum that's the shape that the inspectors will set on top of the car to check, to make sure she's legal. Well, we're going to make one to display with our fab shop car, but I'm going to use a 32nd scale. Now for the big car, using our contour gauge, we're going to have to do it in 2 pieces, transfer that over to some paper or cardstock, and then we'll transfer that either over to a piece of aluminum or sheet plastic. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do yet, but to give you an idea how it's going to look, we're going to use it on a 32nd scale where I can do the whole car. Well, almost the whole car with a 32nd scale. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll just take our contour gauge, and just like with the real ones, let me get lined up here, and we're going to come straight down. Oop, my windshield's popping out. Of course, it's a snap together, which I can fix. So bear with me a minute. And we're going to get our front end, and let me press the windshield back up in place. And boom. So we would transfer this over. You can see where the spoiler is back there, which that doesn't need to be there. Typically that split in the spoiler is for this template to sit down through too. But as you see, we've got our shape of the car, and that was just real quick. Normally I would take and just press the splines down to make sure it's in place a little better than that. But that's how we're going to be making that. But I think it'll be a nice addition to display with it, is to have that that inspection template laying around with it. Okay, let's get back to it. Okay, so let me get it off of its stand. And by the way, I think I showed you this before too, but here's the shop cart. Has the Petty Enterprise logo on it. We'll put that over here with the other stuff. Get the body off here a minute. And I'm going to go ahead and take the roll cage out for the moment too. And the dash. The roll cage, you can see all the weld heat stains and the weld lines there too, or weld marks. And by the way, on the dash, before we look at the chassis, the dash I did in metallizer, buffing metallizer. This is the polished aluminum, and you see the holes. Well, I'm not getting focused. Well, there we go. That's better. Just in bare aluminum there. When the gauges are not installed, of course, yet. There's your access panel to get to the back of the gauges, and a piece of roll bar. I went ahead and put that in there. And I think that turned out pretty well too. You see all of the, and by the way, there's the rear section of the roll bars, which is not done yet. And you see the weld marks and on it. And back here, you see along the ridges of the wheel wells and around where the crush panels are going to be riveted in. I'm waiting on this thing to focus on its own. But I'm really pleased with the way that turned out. And you can see for the sump tank where the Cleco, or not Cleco, the, man, have I said Cleco enough in this video? The Zeus fasteners will be holding the cover for that down. And of course for the shifter boot, you see the holes there for the screws to go through for it. And of course the front end I'm really pleased with. This is going to be my next thing that I'm going to start this afternoon, is really just masking all of this off. The frame rails, everything you see, the where you can see the weld marks and all this stuff, all of this framework has to be masked off so the aluminum can be painted, and all of this has to be masked off so the aluminum can be painted in here and polished. So and it's in planning it and looking at it, you see where I've already started up here. It's a little more tedious than I thought it was going to be, but you know what? In the end, it's going to be worth it. But I'm really kind of having fun with this thing so far. I've got it kind of pictured in my mind how it's going to look finished, and I hope it looks like what I'm picturing anyway. The Cleco connectors I'm using. This is K&S brass rod. I'll hold it up to the car there, but the brass rod is 20 thousandths, as I recall. Yeah, it's 20 thousandths. I've already started cutting it with my Dremel and smoothing it out. I'm hoping I can get this where you can see it anyway. But come on, focus. I don't know if I need to get further away or there we go. Well, you get the idea. I'm cutting these in the lengths, and then of course once the panels are scribed, I'll have to drill out the holes for these the Cleco connectors to go in. And man, that just will not. There we go. But this gives you an idea of what the Cleco connectors, and I'm going to dip the tips in probably just Testor's silver, because the release mechanism for the connectors and the device are on one end are silver, so I'm going to probably do that with each one of these. And when you look at those pictures from Days of Thunder or any fab shop car, there's going to be a ton of these things on there. So got a lot of work to do there. And I think the floor pan, that stuff's going to be the metallizer, buffing metallizer aluminum, and so it'll have a little bit of contrast from the steel on the roll bars, that kind of stuff. And I'm going to be using magnesium, dark aluminum, white aluminum. There's several different areas on the body and in different spots that we'll be seeing some differences there. The body, like I said, has got a good bit of work. There was a little more engineering in just where these lines are going to have to be, and that's another reason I had to putty up and redo the front end and some of this stuff, is because where I had originally started scribing lines, when I found a picture of a Pontiac, I found that the stuff's in the wrong place. The nose color was the wrong color, and so it just, a lot of stuff has to be done. This back here, I actually need to remove this for one of the years that I'm doing, because there'll be a line down through here. But I'll get into that stuff later on. But overall, I'm kind of excited about this. Looks pretty good. Now let me show you a couple of pictures of where I started. The first mock-up I did, or this last one, you see how I went back and did the nose is kind of straight across or at an angle from the edge of the hood crease down to the wheel well, and that just, it turns out that's not the way those bumpers were made. And the rear was correct, but it was kind of the wrong color. Depending on the team and depending on the manufacturer they got them from, those high impact noses came in white and kind of a semi-gloss gray-black color, and I think that's the one I want to go with because it really kind of sets off those metal tones. And I'm not sure yet because the white really looks pretty good too. But then you can go if you're going to do one of these, and I encourage it because it's kind of fun and it's different, it's going to be, I don't know what the word is, obviously, but it's going to be one of those things that I'm thoroughly enjoying, like I said, right now. And here's another shot of the chassis that was just in just plain tester silver. I just wanted to get an idea of how it would look. And that's where I am right now. Like I said, this afternoon, I'm going to start doing the main masking on the chassis. And I'll be getting the framework, this entire nose out, but I've still got to paint the firewall and the rest of it aluminum and try to keep the paint off of what's already done. I'm doing this kind of backwards, obviously, or apparently now. But you know what? I'm having fun no matter what, and that's what it's all about, is just really having fun. Well, I think that's it for right now, guys. So wanted to share that with you. We're going to get this underway, and hopefully I'll have an update on where we are with this pretty soon. And I will talk to you in the next video. Have a great one. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Please do. We appreciate the support. It helps us grow. And talk to you next time.